Okay, good morning and welcome, you amazing human beings. Guys, it is Wednesday. We are midway through the week. And as I said in the message this morning, we're 1 week away from some of the biggest fundamental data, not only for this year, but for December as a whole. So definitely next week is going to be big. It's going to be massive. There are some massive changes happening to the show. I'm super excited to be announcing a date and time. You're going to be seeing a whole new 2023 version of Globex 360 live TV before we even get to next year. There's going to be something we're going to be doing with premium plus members as well as premium members. So this is something you guys are going to have access to before we even get into the course of next year. We're going to do all our trials, all of our tests with you guys over December. So again, there's never been a better time to be a Globex 360 client. Just looking at the chats and the comments from this morning, I can see from our members, I can see Nadia's in the house, Wylan, Godlin, Tyler, Darlene Shaw, Garrett, Ivan Page, Alvin 4C, and Monitz in the house. Lucky's in the house. Guys, I've dropped something very special for you. So if you're a member to the Globex 360 Live TV YouTube channel, if you guys go have a look, there's a members only post I just dropped this morning, and that is all of my charts. So all of my charts, the whole setup, my whole profile that I'm going to be going through today, you have access to, right? Which is something that is just going to add some value. You guys can go ahead and take that profile, open up your data folder within your MT4. This will only work on desktop MT4s. You can drop my profile into your profiles, shut down MT4, open up, and you can see exactly what I'm seeing. So again, if you're a member to the Globex 360 Live TV YouTube channel and you're part of the MVT program, you'll see there's a chat that I've just posted a few minutes ago, and only you can see it. Nobody else can see it. So that's just another benefit of being a Globex 360 Live TV supporter. If you'd like to support the channel, if you'd like to be a part of it, you'd like to be a member, an MVT Most Value Trader, there is the join button down below. But that, if you want to get something that's completely free, to hit the like, to hit the subscribe button or the bell, that is absolutely free. Megan Fanikak has just become a member, seeing the value. Megan, thank you so much for being a part of the Globex 360 Live TV community. Remember, when you guys support the channel, we can do more and more with that information. We can do so much more with what it is that we're busy doing. Someone's asking, is there a problem with the sound? You guys can let me know. I'm not 100% sure. I don't see any issues on my side. You guys can just double check and confirm. It sounds good on my side. I'm going to lift the volume up a little bit. If you guys can let me know in the chat if there's any issues. Yeah, it sounds good from my side. Wow, I sound good. I sound really good, if I don't say so myself. Yeah, no issues on my side. Yeah. We sorted. Okay, so anyway, listen, Megan, thank you for jumping in. Thank you for becoming a member. Again, if you want my trading templates, it's going to be in the members only area on the YouTube channel, right? On the Globex 360 Live TV channel. And you guys can go ahead and download that trading template. So everything on my charts I'm going to be discussing today, I'm going to make that a daily benefit for you guys, as well as a premium plus benefit. So if you have more than $1,000 in your live account, we will email you out my chart settings on a daily basis. Alternatively, we're going to upload it into the client area, into the back office. We're just going to have a discussion with the team as to what's going to be the easiest way to get this information to you. Now, in the future, in part of our new web trader, our new trading platform, I will be able to give you guys an upload code, right? So a download code for the cloud, and you just punch in, I think it's about 6 or 8 digits, and you'll be able to see everything that I see. As I update my charts, you can see it, and vice versa. So if you are a premium or premium plus member with Globex, meaning you have more than $100 or more than $1,000 in your live account, you can simply just give me your upload code. I can take that upload code, look at your charts, look at your analysis, and the team will be able to give you feedback on where you might be going wrong or right, or if you need guidance or mentorship. So we're designing the new platform to be able to integrate and engage with you guys, some very, very cool stuff across the board. But anyway, a lot of exciting things. As I said, the studio is busy being rebuilt. We're going to have some downtime over the course of next week, but don't worry. The CPI we are covering regardless, regardless if I have to do it from my bed or a hotel, whatever, it doesn't matter. CPI we're going to cover, as well as Papa Powell's next federal interest rate announcement. Now, again, if you're with us as part of the previous events, you guys will know that we absolutely dominated the markets in these previous events. So again, you want to be a part of that, you need a Globex 360 Live account, a minimum of $100 for some of the events, but some of the bigger events are going to be $1,000, right? You need to be a premium plus member to be able to join us on that front. Okay, so there's a bunch of things I want to go through with you guys today. We're going to touch on the news. There's so much I'd like to talk about, but so little time. We're going to touch on the news, and then I'm going to show you guys some really interesting analysis that I've spent a bit of time on from yesterday to today, but really going deeper into where we are on the biggest stage of things, right? Looking at the euro, looking at the pound, looking at the South African rand, looking at indices as a whole. Where are we and where we're busy going? So I'm going to spend a bit of time on analysis. I've really taken a bigger picture here so that for those of you who are joining us maybe more recently, that you're not left in the dark, that you can understand the bigger picture in terms of where we're going. And we're going to keep it fairly simple. Again, this is our free public broadcast, our premium plus as well as premium edition stuff. We go a little bit deeper and we are a little bit more technical in those sessions. So yeah, let's jump in. We're going to start off with a bit of news. Let's have a look at what's happening in the markets and how we can essentially position ourselves to benefit based on what is busy happening. Okay, good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And the first thing I'm going to start off is on the local front. And I love this article. 7 things to know about the surprisingly strong state of the South African economy. Right, this is why the South African economy, the South African rand, is called the rattlesnake, because this article says the surprisingly strong state. Remember, we can have a ton of things that happen in the world. Our GDP went up, right, yesterday. For those of you who saw the fundamental data point, our GDP went up yesterday, which is mind-blowing, right? We have load shedding, we have unemployment at an all-time high. We got all these crazy things, and yet our economy is strong, right? It's up for debate whether you think that's true or not. A strong economy for me would mean that, the rand isn't sitting at 17, 18 rand to the dollar. A strong economy for me would mean the South African rand hasn't lost, 80% of its value in 10 years, right? That's not a strong economy. That's a future Zim waiting to come, right? We can obviously all pray that doesn't come to pass, and let's just hope our politicians know what they're doing. But seeing articles like this to me is an offense, because again, you take our money, you go anywhere else in the world, and it's crazy. Go, spend money in dollars by converting the rand, and then you ask, is our economy strong? Okay, so anyway, I read that one this morning. I thought it was quite funny. So yesterday we spoke about this, and we spoke about these different views about the pound or the euro or the dollar or the yen being the strong currency for 2022. And I decided yesterday we blew this off, and we kind of said, they're going to obviously trade blows, right? We know the federal interest rates next week, as well as the CPI data event, can set the tone for the dollar. We know that. But now I'm a little bit more interested in this euro pound issue, right? We've ignored the euro pound for quite a bit of time. As you guys will know, in the past couple of years, we completed the Brexit, the British exit from the European Union. That had its whole bunch of issues. We've had budget deficits. We've had tons of things happening between the euro and the pound. I was fairly interested today as to really looking at this a bit more seriously and giving it a little bit more, giving it a bit more attention than I originally gave it. I originally blew this off. So I've got a pretty interesting analysis on the euro pound, looking at where it is, where it's potentially going, and I'm starting to maybe support this bias here, right? This article came out yesterday, pretty late in the evening, but I'm looking at a euro pound long position, and I'll show you why that is. Looking at the strength of the euro, looking at the pound, so on and so forth. So we're going to obviously have, we're going to have a look at that. It can only be our government predicament according to them. There's nothing wrong with the essay. I think that's the difficult thing about the South African rand, right? Is that exactly what Ruan's saying here. Everyone's saying there's nothing wrong. But again, and I want to talk about this because I think it's extremely important. I'm going to use maybe 2 or 3 minutes of our time here. If you bought a property 10 years ago in South Africa, right? So let's say in, 2012, you bought a property. Let's say you bought a property for R1 million. Okay. You invest in this property and you're thinking, great, I want to, let's say you bought this property for R1 million, right? The average residential property, and depending whether it's sectional title, depending whether it's a freestanding home, whether it's in a complex, whether it's in an estate, on average, you're looking at about anywhere from 4.5% to maybe 7% per year, right? In terms of how that property would appreciate in the overall market. Again, there's a generalization. So over 10 years, that R1 million property you bought in 2012, in 2022, if we look at an average of about, let's say 5% a year, right? Your property should have appreciated by 50% over that period. Let's be generous, say 60%. So that R1 million property should have appreciated to, let's say, 1.6 million, right? The new valuation of 10 years should be 1.6 million. Now, again, I'm doing quick math. I'm not doing compound interest, which is what would normally happen. Properties would compound in interest over that period of time. We're just doing straight. Okay, but we're being generous. 60% over 10 years, that's not bad. Okay. However, if you look at where the rand was 10 years ago, if you look at we were at a point where it was 7 rand to the dollar 10 years ago. If you take that same home that we bought for $1 million 10 years ago, and we look at this home that's now 1.6 million, but we look at what is that worth in international money, in dollar, euro, pound values, right? That same home that's now worth 1.6 million is only worth 800, maybe if we're lucky, 850,000 in international money. Technically speaking, over the space of 10 years, that home, you're 15% poorer than what you were 10 years ago based on the depreciation of the South African rand, right? And this is the issue, is that people don't look at this. People say, well, you know, we're not buying things in dollars, we're not buying things in euro, yen, pound. But this is why we keep on saying there's never been a better time to trade. Because if you have a look at it, 10 years ago, nobody cared what happened with the dollar, what happened with the euro, what happened with the pound. Now, everything that happens in our country is often a ripple effect of what happens elsewhere. Interest rates announcement, issues, political war. We've become so geopolitically connected that everything that happens elsewhere happens here too. And so there's never been a better time to fully understand how, A, to understand different markets, B, to evaluate them, and C, to diversify yourself, to be trading in the dollar, to be trading in the euro, in the yen, so on and so forth, to safeguard yourself, right? Because a lot of people do that. They buy a home and they say, yes, I bought a home, I bought some land, I bought some. But what happens if the rand hits 30 to the dollar? What happens if the rand hits 40, 50, 100? We've seen this happen in other countries. It's not unlikely. It's not unfathomable that this can happen, that inflation could do this. What ends up happening? If you take everything that you are worth today and you look at immigrating, you look at you're net poorer today than you were 10 years ago, right? And that is the issue that I find with people just saying, you know, hey, the South African economy is fine. That's why I laugh at articles like that. But in any event, let's, again, another reason why it's never been a better time to be a trader, never mind just a trader, but a Globex 360 client, to get access to these shows, to get access to our new academy, to get access to world-class support, spreads, indices, instruments, opportunities to get deposit bonuses, cashback. There's a million different reasons why there's never been a better time to be a trader, but more so to be a client of Globex 360. If you're not yet already funded, if you're not already a client, if you're not part of our premium or premium plus subscribers, link down below, open up your Globex 360 live account, simply fund, and you'll have a look. There's different account types. Fund in relation to the account type that works for you, whether it's premium $100 or premium plus, which will be $1,000, and automatically you'll gain access to all these features and functionalities that we give every single one of our clients for free, just depending on where you sit from an account perspective. Okay, so enough about that. We will be covering a euro pound analysis very, very shortly once we jump into it. Looking at US news more specifically, look, there's two articles that are of importance to me here this morning. First thing is that we are going to see obviously a ton of things coming with Trump, right? Again, we understand that Trump is running for 2024 potential, running for president. So again, you know, based on the drama he's caused, there's going to be a lot of stones thrown his direction. We're going to see a lot of allegations. We're going to see a ton of things. This is just, unfortunately, the politics of today. This is a scare tactic. Whether we see him come back or not, you know, it's one of those things to be said. However, these articles that are busy painting are painting extremely bad pictures, saying, you know, there's been a 15-year-long criminal intent to defraud the US taxman. Ultimately, this is going to result in a fine and everyone's going to forget about it. But it's designed to obviously slander someone. We can see it very clearly in the intent of the article how it's written. The other article that is interesting to me is the fact that Goldman Sachs, right? Goldman CEO, you know, when it comes to Goldman Sachs, when it comes to Wall Street, right? There's a few big names that when they speak, the world listens. Goldman Sachs being one of the biggest hedge funds in the world, hands down, no doubt. You know, their word carries a lot of momentum, right? And, you know, there's an article saying that, you know, a very reasonable possibility the economy will enter recession next year. So again, we've said this before. For those of you who haven't heard, don't understand it, we are entering into a recession, right? Regardless of which way you see it. We've seen it being said time and time again from a US perspective. in terms of the earnings call for Q3, meaning all publicly traded and listed companies in the United States, in terms of their earnings call, right? Almost 70% of CEOs cited the word there will be a recession, or cited the word recession for 2023. These downscalings that we're seeing is all part of that, right? We're starting to see all these layoffs across the board in preparation for what's going to be coming next year. And again, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, the South African Rand and South Africa as a whole, we are about 4 to 6 months lagging behind the rest of the world from some of these issues. So when recessions happen, when downscalings happen, all these things happen, we start to see those ripple effects down the line. Okay, so that is obviously that's something we need to be aware of, and that's obviously coming in a pretty big way. I'd like to move in onto things as we look at the markets from a pure just data perspective. So let's jump in and let's have a look at what is happening from a fundamental data perspective. And we're going to have a look at our economic calendar this morning. And before we get to the items that are of major importance, I also just want to quickly just touch on yesterday. And that's going to be on the South African Rand. This is yesterday. South African Rand GDP came in at 4.1%, annualized quarter-on-quarter 1.6%. So again, where they're pulling this GDP from, I don't know, but it's just obviously something we need to take a little bit of consideration into. The Canadian PMI came in slightly higher to the Canadian dollar. It's not showing too much inflation there. That's just on yesterday because we didn't obviously have yesterday afternoon session. Looking at today, there's only a few items that we are going to be speaking about. Canadian dollar, Bank of Canada interest rates decision. Now we will be trading this one live as part of our premium dollars for lunch session. So we're going to be starting that at 4:15 this afternoon. We're going to trade the New York Stock Exchange. I'm going to keep that session open all the way to this next interest rate decision for the Canadian dollar. Usually we would split it and I'd make that a premium plus facility because we trade a lot of the high volatility, the more detailed technical stuff with premium plus. I'm going to merge them together because there's going to be such a small time difference between the time we end the New York Stock Exchange session and starting this interest rate decision discussion. So again, if you have more than $100 in your live account, we will be giving you the link to the Dollars for Lunch session in your back office in your client area. We'll also be emailing that out to you. So again, you want to be a part of that. That's going to be the big items for today. And just lastly, covering up on the S&P 500 heat map, we can see everything's red across the board, right? New York Stock Exchange opened yesterday. Initially started with a little bit of a pop from a buy perspective, but ultimately the bias continued towards the downside. We saw sell-offs across the board towards the downside yesterday afternoon. So we're looking at things. I am looking to try and find how we can get into a US 30 long position. And I suspect either today or tomorrow, we're going to be able to get into that US 30 long position because again, this will support what I see coming next week from a CPI and a Papa Powell interest rate decision. I'd love to get in those buys a little bit early in preparation for that. Now, looking at the markets, we don't have a ton more time left, but I just want to jump through this and I want to obviously make sure everybody understands this. And we're going to start off with the dollar index real quick this morning. Again, if you are a subscriber and you're part of the members area, so the MVT, there's a join button down below. If you are an MVT, you will get access to the link, which is my whole profile. So everything I'm seeing from analysis perspective, you will be able to see as well on your side. But as we just jump into some of the analysis, we're going to start off on the FX side of things, and we're going to start off with the dollar index. Great stuff. So as we saw yesterday, dollar index was pushing slightly higher. We have seen that trend has continued, right? So yesterday morning, we pushed up, and we don't really have a solid level of support here, right? So we don't have a solid indication of where the dollar index could end up breaking. We do know that we are obviously for the first time, pretty much since the 30th, right? For the first time, the first week of this month, we've been in a bear momentum. The first time we've obviously broken out from that. Good stuff. Sherman's saying, let me just read the comments from our members really quickly. Sherman's saying, you're answering the questions when you question yourself to stop trading because the industry is going to allow you to make dollars or euros. Sherman VDF saying never give up, No matter how many times you fail, you just need that one moment to break through. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Sherman. That's some really, really cool, inspiring stuff right there. Beautiful. So dollar index, currently in this state of a little bit of an upthrust. But really what I want to talk about is I want to talk about Euro USD, right? And again, this is just looking at the Euro's domination against the dollar. Now, we drew this market structure last week and I missed it because we had our year-end function. On the 30th, we were looking at the potential for a retest and a pop-off on the Euro USD, right? We drew this out in prior days, but on the 30th, we came to that support level. We popped off and we moved off on Euro USD. Now, just showing you guys a little bit of a bigger picture on where we are. Euro USD has been in this massive bear trend for the majority of this year, right? For the first time this year, we've had this little bit of a pop-off that happened the first week of November, and we are now in the state where, you know, we're starting to trend higher, right? We're making higher lows, higher highs, and I think the next big opportunity for us is going to be Euro USD coming back down to the 1.0364 pip mark. So ideally, €1 buying us $1. Let's see here. $1.03 and 64 pips is where I want to start looking for those buy opportunities. But certainly long term, potentially even for the course of next year, I'm definitely going to be looking at euro dollar long positions. Now, transitioning that euro dollar long position, I just want to show you guys what's happening on euro GBP in the sense that if we just go a little bit further out here, right? So I'm going to go to a weekly time frame because I think it's going to be our best opportunity to kind of see what's happening here on a bit of a bigger time scale. Okay. So if we have a look at euro pound, right, and I just primarily want to focus here on what we ended up happening around that Brexit stage of things, right? You can see we kind of had this, you know, expanding momentum in this market. You know, we're making higher highs, lower lows, euro pound trading blows, and this is again very much going to be, you know, that Brexit discussion as we get that 2017, 2018 type vibes, right? Now, looking at the last big spike we had here, this was the start of the pandemic, right? If we have a look here, the start of 2020 is the start of the pandemic. Initially, the start of the pandemic, the euro pretty much had a bit of favor here over the pound. The euro is buying out the pound, and then things settled in, and we've been in a bear momentum since that start of that pandemic, right? Going on to a one-day time frame, and again, this is Euro GBP, we've been in this bear momentum ever since. Now, looking at where we are in this current state of things, we officially exited this bear momentum only August, September of this year, and we made that first pop out to the top side, right? Again, you know, we've had a little bit of turbulence on the euro pound. We've had, you know, prime ministers changing it up. We've had different economic blunders, but ultimately what we need to understand here is euro pound, we are making. Okay, I just got an error on the stream. I just want to see here if we are back online. Let's just double check. Okay, we are back online. Good stuff. Just let me know, guys, is the stream back online? I just saw the error pop up while I was busy speaking about analysis. I actually can't tell how long it was offline for, but I've changed the reconnection settings. So in the past, if our stream went temporarily offline, it would try for 10 or 20 times, then it would just disconnect. I've changed that to 100 times. So it must just try until we come back. Okay, good stuff. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so just in terms of euro pound, I just want you to pay attention to the fact that we have this major long-term support here that's pretty much going to cover the breakout process. Again, there's a one-day time frame, euro GBP. And again, if you are a MVT member, right, you'll see here that I've posted on YouTube under the MVT area a link to my charts, and then you can simply open up that link. It will be a OneDrive folder, and every single day I'll upload that into this area. So if you're a member part of our members area, you can go ahead and join the channel. It'll give you access to different badges, different types of loyalties, and you can go ahead and join, jump in there, and you'll get your different badge, so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm looking for a breakout here. And if we just dive in a little bit closer, this is why I do see that the euro pound could be long-term bullish, specifically over 2023, but we need to find a good entry here. All right, so there's a couple of things I want to discuss here. The first thing being that we've got this massive bear market, bear trend. We've popped up temporarily, we retested. And again, this is the issue of trading a breakout, right? And this is where a lot of people get it wrong. I want to show you on a 1 hour time frame what happened here. And this is where you just need to be cautious. So we've got a massive bear market. We can see it very clearly identified there. We get the first pop, the first break, right? And what looks like a good retest, but then we get that actual retest, which really just pushes deep into that market. And now we've got this new official retest. We're done, we dusted. The question is, are we going to make these higher highs? Now, what I think we can do in order to map this out correctly is just on a 1 hour time frame. We just want to map out this area we're currently in, and I would like to see a break of Euro GBP 0.8642. So meaning €1 buying £0 86 cents and 42 pips. 0.8642. That will be the breakout zone for me. It doesn't mean if we hit that zone on buying, I would like to see prices get through that, and then I'd like to get long. And then ultimately, should we then break up into this resistance level and act as support for us, then we're in the money long term, and we could obviously see a long term Euro GBP trend towards that top side. Now switching over to USD ZAR, because I'm finding something very interesting again. I was getting a bit nostalgic this morning. I was really diving deep into, where are we in the scale of things? What have we done? Where's things going? And this speaks to, what I was speaking about a little bit earlier. Again, just switching over to a weekly time frame, right? Just have a look at where we were in 2012, right? Have a look at that, right? 2011, 2012, we're sitting at 7-8 rand to the dollar. Look at where the South African rand has gone since. Okay, crazy stuff. Now, I just want to point out that in the state of market that we're currently in, right? And I'm just looking at that, we have a long-term support well down below us, right? At this estimation, right? Even if we take this whole bull move here, right? We have a long-term support on USD ZAR, as far down as 16 rand to the dollar. Right, we have seen in the past when we've had these bull impulses, we've corrected back to that 78.6. This last correction was 78.6. So it's not unrealistic. We could pull down to the 15 rand 30, 15 rand 40 mark. However, I do believe we're only going to pull down once we make a new high. The new high sits at that 19 rand, almost 20 rand to the dollar. And why do I believe that? There's a couple reasons for that, right? First thing is, if we note past spikes, past bull impulses, those past bull impulses, make a new high, we make a pullback. If you look at, there's a very similar thing as to what we're seeing now. We've got this next impulse to the top side. It looks like it's failing to make a new high. We range a little bit, and then boom, nice big high towards that top side, beating out markets. Now have a look at where we are now. Very similar type of point of view. A little bit of a pop to the top side, and we are ready to make that next move. So I'm looking for that USD ZAR long position. And I just want to show you here, we've pulled down to a known range that we've seen before, and now we need to look for that cross on that 17 rand 50 mark. If we get that, we can be in that next leg towards that top side. So for the other instruments, right, for the deep analysis, looking